Heyo, and welcome back to the Boston Sports Brothers podcast, episode 45, featuring Matt McCarthy from 98.5, the Sports Hub. McCarthy, how are you?
Guys, good to be back on with you. I'm
Great
I'm
to
doing
Welcome.
great.
great to have you
Awesome.
back on. Big E, Gabe, good to see your beautiful faces.
Good to see you. How we doing?
All is well, all is well. So Kraz is jumping on here in a minute. So we're going to save our Sox talk for when Kraz gets on. Obviously, a lot to jump on there with the team being in the current state that it's in. But it is 7:15 now as we record, and NBA free agency is officially underway as of 6 p.m. as we record tonight. And certainly a lot of offseason nuggets from the NBA world that we need to touch on. We haven't recorded since the Thunder took home the championship in what was a lackluster game seven after Halliburton goes down. So we're also, for show note for everybody, we're in an every other week period right here on the Boston Sports Brothers podcast. It's summertime. There's not too much going on. We all need a little break in sunshine, vitamin D. So off next week, back to 14th, off the 21st, then we're back weekly once training camp starts. But with that being said, Big E, dive into just the entire NBA world, things going on there, Celtics, finals, free agency, set the table, and we'll discuss.
Yeah, thanks, Plotty. I think a couple things. Let's give OKC their flowers. They dominated. Although I do want to say, I think this really bothered me. Halliburton was cooking in game seven, was doing great, and then goes down on the Achilles. Almost eerily the same exact motion that Tatum went in when he tore his Achilles. Clearly, there's a little bit of an issue going on in the league right now where you're seeing a lot of these star players go down with the Achilles. I loved what he said afterwards. I feel like, obviously he's not going to feel great about everything that happened, but give the dude credit for going out there playing to try and win a championship, not at 100%, and ultimately kind of killed his season for next season. And, it's a shame, but would just love to, again, just say, like, I have major props for that dude for fighting through everything that he fought through. Again, props to OKC. We'll see how they end up doing here, but I think it's interesting in free agency so far. They've been able to keep all their players because they're well under the cap, extend them, get them paid. We'll see how long this rides for them. They still have a bevy of draft picks going on in the future. So the future looks bright for OKC, which, as a Celtics fan, I think, and as a fan in the NBA, I think you have to be a little bit concerned because there have been a big run here recently where there hadn't been a repeat champ in a long time. And OKC, I think, has the best possibility of repeating going into next year. But we all thought the same thing about the Celtics last year, and look at where they are
Here,
now.
here
So
we are. Kraz,
it's a good
welcome to the show. Biggie,
I
thanks.
Welcome,
appreciate
Sammy.
your patience, Matt. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you,
welcome,
Kraz.
Krez.
I'm glad we got some of the things that we wanted off of our wish list,
Yes.
but not the outcomes that we wanted. But at least, hey, we at least got some of them.
We're going to dive into Sox here in a few minutes, but we started NBA tonight with the opening of free agency, and Big E just touched on the finals here. McCarthy, and then anybody else, any sort of NBA finals takeaways, and OKC sort of being in a position here to maybe go on a run and start their own sort of dynastic venture, if you will.
Yeah, thank God it's over because I did not find those finals compelling. Obviously, I'm a jaded Celtics fan, knowing the Celtics were better than what they showed against the Knicks. Obviously, the Tatum injury, is a dark cloud over all of it. I'm not convinced that Oklahoma City is going to go on a run here. I know they're young. I know everybody is excited by them. They didn't really impress me in the finals. I'm sorry. I like Indiana, but that team's not all that good, and it took them 7 to get there. I just and Halliburton getting hurt in game seven. Just this era in the NBA, I'm not convinced Oklahoma City is going to be a dynasty. I'm not convinced anybody's going to be a dynasty right now. There's more parity in the NBA than there's been before. And I think I've kind of, come to that acceptance here with the league right now. So I'm not convinced Oklahoma City is going to be the next big, greatest thing. That's just not the way the NBA has been played. And it's not the way the league has played out over the course of the last decade. So that's personally, I'm just not there. Maybe I'm wrong. I also thought the Celtics were going to win a championship and they were going to be down 3-1 to the Knicks before Tatum blew his Achilles out. So what do I know? Clearly nothing. But I think the bigger question is what happens here, because the league is wide open. I don't think it's Oklahoma City's league. Obviously, the East is wide open with the Tatum injury. The talent is out West. Does Oklahoma City even make it back to the finals next year? I just think that's the way the league is right now.
Yeah. Gabe, Kraz, any quick NBA finals thoughts, or we can certainly dive into free agency, the Celtics moves that they've made, and obviously this team's looking way different as we go into next year.
Well, yeah, it'll be a perfect segue into going into, free agency. And that's exactly that. What is the West going to look like when, free agency is all said and done? And how does that translate? So again, like Matt was talking about the finals, it really wasn't, I was watching it too. It wasn't, we talked about it last episode. I mean, Alex Caruso was the oldest guy there. They weren't really celebrating the way you would normally see, and there was a lot about it just wasn't like it had been in final years. So it didn't have that. It didn't have that
Pizzazz.
finals feel to me, at least.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's what convinced me that OKC is not going to go into a dynastic run here because they literally don't know how to pop a bottle of champagne and they're like spitting out beer. You don't even know how to celebrate your biggest achievement and it's just like, hey, who knows? Maybe they need to go back to back and they'll prove us wrong and be able to pop bottles. But just seeing that video of Chet Holmgren like teaching them all how to like pop a bottle was just like I couldn't handle that. That was so bad.
Do you guys think that like, hey, like even if they don't go back to back, but I could see them ripping off like, maybe 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, because they do have such a good core and talent, and they still have all those picks, which gives them a lot of ammunition to make trades. I don't think that this is going to happen. McCarthy earlier this year, I was very bullish that if OKC didn't win, that they were going to trade for Giannis because they are the team that has the most pieces,
Mhm.
the most draft picks. I don't think that's happening anymore, but I think next time a star comes loose and maybe they don't get back there next year, they're the prime candidate to get that star because they have all the assets available. So I
Yeah.
think they're in an enviable position in the league. But yeah, I don't think it's a gimme that anyone repeats in the NBA anymore.
Yeah, I think
no,
that's the way to look at it, to be totally honest. Like, it's, are they better positioned to succeed over the long term than most teams? Yes, but that does not mean that you will, go back to back in a league where that obviously used to happen a hell of a lot more. I think that's a good point.
given assets and talking about that, let's shift our focus to the Celtics here, who obviously have offloaded two assets in Holiday and in Porzingis, and we can discuss the return. Also, assets in terms of draft picks, in my opinion, three players that I know absolutely nothing about coming to this team here with their draft picks. But as we said, the dust is yet to settle. But open season here. I mean, I'm sad to see Holiday and Porzingis go. Obviously, this team's trying to get younger. I think they see next year as a sort of gap year, if you will. Obviously, with Tatum being down, but I don't know. I trust Brad Stevens. That's what I'll say in terms of making it's. I think he's has a 2 year sort of window open right now in terms of what he's doing.
You know what the tough part about all of it is, we knew changes were coming. I think anybody would be foolish to not believe changes were coming given the new ownership, given, I guess the penalties of the second apron, which, involve basketball penalties, but, more importantly, extremely, harsh penalties financially. So it's not surprising that Holiday and Porzingis are gone, but it's kind of like I almost had in my mind entering this offseason that you trade those two guys, you get under the second apron, and that's that, and the rest of the team remains intact. Well, we're an hour and a half into free agency, and it's obviously really early on right now, but I'm still hearing Horford rumors elsewhere. I'm still hearing Cornette rumors elsewhere. I'm hearing, Sam Hauser rumors elsewhere. And not that any of those one players, like I really, to be totally honest, don't give a shit about any one of those three players individually. But who's the front court? Who's the front court for the Celtics next year? Like, and what is this bench going to look like? And all of a sudden, you realize it's maybe not just peeling off two guys. You might be peeling off four or five guys. And I'm sorry, that does add up, especially in a day and age in the NBA where there's more parity than ever before. It feels to me like the Celtics are entering a bit of, I don't want to call it a hard reset because it's not, because it's 1 year, but they're entering more of a retooling period and a little bit more of a gap year than perhaps I thought heading into this. And that's kind of, it is a depressing thought as a Celtics fan.
Do you guys think that this is a soft tank that they're going towards? I don't believe it's a soft tank. I've heard some people say
Yeah.
that they think that they're
They're
going
too
that
good.
way. Well, I think it's exactly what McCarthy was saying. There is no front court. You have Neemias Queta right now. You have Xavier Tillman who couldn't see the floor at all last year, and then you have the draft pick that they got at 46, Amari Williams, who could be an intriguing prospect, but he's a project, right? So what do you really have in the front of the team? You really don't have a lot there. So
I agree.
I think the team could be competitive, but if they were having rebounding issues last year with some of the guys they had on the team, and now you have a drain of some of these guys that have left, that problem is only going to get worse. So yeah, we could shoot threes with the best of them. We still have some great 3-point shooters on the team, But if we can't rebound, we're not going to be able to win games.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is I think we need a it's that's and Brad we trust just like everyone else says. I think he's got a plan as far as what a center, will look like for this team. But I've always said all along there was a guy that I would always work with at the YMCA. He
Oh
was an
boy.
opener. He was there at 5:45. He was there at 4:45, and we would talk Celtics, and I mean this guy was an older guy, and he watched it, and a lot of that, and this was during the obviously the Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and Kevin Garnett era. But what we were talking about was, with Kendrick Perkins having that low body down there allowed for, Rondo to be able to, cut to the rim, make those passes to Ray Allen, let, Paul Pierce do his ISO thing, let Kevin Garnett do his thing. What the Celtics need is that exact same kind of a thing. They really need a big, strong body down low. So A, they can rebound, and B, they can spread the floor and also attack the rim because that's really how Jaylen Brown gets cooking.
They need a healthy
And
big man.
to all your points, of course they need a big man. I thought it might have been a little premature to trade Kristaps Porzingis.
Mhm.
He was had 1 year left on his deal. It seems kind of more like I don't know, like the owner kind of cheaped out a little bit and didn't want to pay that salary more than wanting what's maybe best for the team. I know KP has had his injury woes and the mystery virus and all that, but at least it's a big body that you could stick in there, and he has, that all-star caliber type play when he is healthy. So to me, that trade seemed a bit premature. I don't know about you guys.
I think it was a pure salary dump, and I think at the end of
Mhm.
the day, his value is as low as it's going to be right now. I agree with you, Gabe. I personally wanted to keep him at least till like the February trade deadline to let his value work up, but also at the same time too, that dude can't stay healthy, and to get out under the contract and get out close to being out under the second apron, it was worth it to dump the salary and get back because it's the penalties more than the payment to the players. And I think that's the thing that, maybe not the casual fan understands is when you've had these repeater penalties, it really, really hamstrings you for your future. You'll start losing first round draft picks. And yeah, I know the Celtics have been really good over the last X period of time. So they haven't been drafting in the first round. They've been trading these picks or they've been getting them right at the end. Well, if the Celtics aren't good this year, guess what? They're going to be drafting a lot higher, right? So I personally don't want to be getting rid of draft picks when those could be leading to developmental players. And say what you want about Brad Stevens, he hasn't really had a great opportunity to draft high in his time in Boston. So I think we're still kind of the jury's a little bit out on him as far as his draft prowess, because right now the only thing that we can say for Brad is he's won pretty much every deal that he's traded in for the most part at this point. But draft wise, I still think it's a big question mark. We don't know how capable he is.
Breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Shams, Luke Cornett has agreed to a 4-year, $41 million deal with the San Antonio Spurs.
Get your
Wow.
bag, Luke.
Ooh.
Good for you,
Good
buddy.
for you, Luke. Hey, San
I,
Antonio's
I, I
trying to
was,
make moves.
when you were done, I was going to literally say they were going to have to pay for Luke, but apparently he
Yeah.
got his payday.
I
Hey,
can't be upset for a dude who took a
Nope.
minimum deal after he really didn't have to try and repeat to get his bag for probably the last time in his career that he's going to get that type of money. So
good
good for Luke.
good for Luke. Great player, great vibes guy. Going to bring a good spirit to San Antonio. That's a team to look out for.
That makes me
When they
think
know it's
Horford's coming
healthy.
back now.
We'll
I don't
see.
think so. I
I'm
think
not
he's
so
gone.
convinced about that. I mean, you hear Horford to Golden State.
That's a
Yeah,
He would be
perfect
I'm
great.
fit.
He would be great there, yeah.
He would be. So, if Horford's coming back here, he's solely coming back here because he just likes Boston and wants to keep playing basketball.
And
Like,
they let his kid on the fucking court and
I,
be
yeah,
a 13th team member too.
yeah,
I honestly, it would not shock me if he does a 1 year deal with Golden State and if he still wants to play again next year coming back because
yep,
Tatum's his boy. So I think Tatum will
Sure.
lobby hard to make sure that that happens when, he comes back after the season. But I could totally see that happening.
agreed. Makes all the sense in the world. No doubt.
All right. Well, a few other free agency notes, but we got to talk Sox here and be respectful of McCarthy's time because he's up at the crack of ass filling in for Toucher and Hardy this week with Big Joe Murray. So, Jaren Jackson back to Memphis on a 5-year max deal, 220 million, and Michael Porter Jr. was traded from Denver to Brooklyn for Cam Johnson. So, Sports Hub headlines. Whoever's got headlines tomorrow is going to be a busy guy, McCarthy.
Oh yeah. Thanks, I appreciate that. There's nothing quite like your alarm going off at 4 a.m. I had this day circled weeks ago. It's like, motherfucker. It's like all you want to do is cut corners when your alarm goes off at 10 of 4 or whatever the hell it is. And, like I showed up today and I wrote my Sports Hub headline at about 5:57 for the 6 o'clock update. You cannot get away with that tomorrow morning. So, yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate your thoughts and prayers. Obviously, I have a tremendous cross to bear, and everybody really, really should feel badly for me for getting to do the job that I do because I have to be prepared. So, I mean, thank you for your thoughts and prayers and for understanding how difficult my life is.
I mean, how are you going to even take a breath tomorrow? It's going to be like, like I don't know.
12 years of writing updates. It's very simple. Luke Cornett to the Spurs, 4 years, 41 million. You just ramble them off.
Bang, bang, bullet that list and rip through it, baby. That's the way to
Bullet
do
points,
it.
baby.
All right, well, let's
Rip
McCarthy, let's do this. Give us your top 3 bullet points of what's pissing you off with the Boston Red Sox right now, and let that set the table. Obviously, Kraz want you to chime in, but it can be anything, McCarthy, really. But it's time to talk Sox, a team that is just unbelievably disappointing in every way you look at it.
Yeah, so first bullet point, everything. Second bullet point, everything. Third bullet point, everything. Does that encapsulate it? I mean,
Mhm.
where do you even begin with these fucking guys? It's obviously an ownership level problem. We understand that. Devers is gone because ownership saw an opportunity to get out of the contract. That's why they didn't get much of a return. Breslow obviously is a problem behind the scenes. You know, from a pure baseball perspective, I don't think Breslow's actually done that bad a job. I mean, the return for Devers is awful, but that's not really a GM thing. I mean, we heard from the Giants owner saying that he had to call John Henry and say that Breslow is asking for too much, meaning, hey, your GM's actually doing his job, but we know what you really want. We know you want us to take the money, so tell your GM to back off, and I'm going to give you what you want. So I don't blame Breslow for the return on Devers. I do blame him for the role he played in getting to this point with Devers, which is the lack of communication, which really is Breslow's biggest problem. And right now you have the Craig Breslow rehabilitation, the image rehabilitation tour going on, speaking to the Globe this week, going into what I call the Hornet's Nest of the Nesson booth. To do an interview there, although I do give Dave O'Brien a lot of credit. Like I joke about the Hornet's Nest, O'Brien went after him, and I thought that was good. I thought that was appropriate. And there was some stuff that Breslow said that he's going to get a lot of criticism for, including the whole, well, you can wait until, closer to the deadline and get more for players. It's like, that not what you probably should be saying, guy, 10 days after you trade Rafael Devers for a bag of balls 2 months before the deadline. So there's that. There's the manager who is undeniably a massive culture problem. The guy doesn't care. He is blaming everybody else. He's doing what he's done for years now. Don't look at me. Pass the buck. So Cora is passing the buck. Breslow's passing the buck because he says the reason they can't field is because of the minor league development, which he's only been on the job for 2 years. So it's the farm director's fault that these guys can't field, and it's the coach's fault. It's not his fault for the analytics. And in the end, they're 3 games below 500 and they suck. And oh yeah, the players aren't good enough yet either. I mean, especially the young players who, I mean, we all think are going to be good, but it's unfair to them to ask them to be this. And the rest of the roster kind of stinks, including Walker Buehler, who absolutely blows. So, how do they fix this? The answer is you don't. So that's really uplifting. I mean, we can just end the program right there. You don't fix this without, to me, cleaning house. I think they have to clean house. I think the GM has to go, not because I think he's a bad baseball general manager. I think the office politics are the reason he has to go. Cora has to go. Half the roster has to go. The team president probably has to go. Like the front office has to go. There are, holdovers there who are, being isolated from Breslow. Like they need to wipe the whole thing out. I mean, you got to nuke that thing. Otherwise, they're not going to fix this dysfunction because they are dysfunctional at every single level, and that is what the Devers deal reinforces. And by the way, Rafael Devers was a fucking asshole too. Like we know that he was a putz. I have no problem that you traded him to try to fix the culture. The only problem is everybody else who's a problem is still here. So why are we getting rid of our best player if he's a problem when we're not getting rid of the other problems? Get rid of everybody or get rid of nobody. No more half measures, and that was a half measure.
The part about the Devers trade that's absolutely mind blowing is that it finally looked like this team had something going for itself. Had won went 7-2 on the homestand against the division. It's like, okay, maybe we can play with the people that are ahead of us. And then
swept the Yankees.
This is what we talked about. It's like this
Had
trade
a wild card spot.
This trade could quite literally put this team into keep on going where they were going, or into a fucking tailspin of epic proportions. Kraz, in the outline, your first note in the outline was sell the fucking team. So McCarthy's pretty spot on, but that might not happen. But Kraz, your thoughts.
Yeah, my thoughts are exactly that. This it feels like to me at least that ownership could be less involved, and that's an issue because it starts at the top.
Mhm.
So management, yes, front office, yes, but ultimately the owners are what it comes down to, and it's clear as day they have no involvement. I mean, I guess yeah, John Henry going to Kansas City to go talk to Rafael Devers is whatever, but I guess he had to do something to save face. But someone had said something like, I guess they had signed some player in Liverpool right around the time when the Devers trade happened. And it's just like, it really can't be any more obvious at this point because, I mean, I started writing a blog about it. It's like 2 years ago, Devers literally said to, the media, like, the front office needs to do their fucking job verbatim.
Mhm.
And they did that. They went out, they got the top pitcher that they could, they got the second top hitter that they could. Unfortunately, he played, the position that Devers plays, but at the same time, that's not his natural position. He's a second baseman. But when he came up, he's not going to replace Jose Altuve because he was the best in the league at that time. So it was just the way that they handled that, I think was just from the get-go was just all fucked up to begin with. And they should have been a lot more transparent with Devers. And then you start hearing the reports about Big Poppy trying to reach out and him not getting back. And it's just like, okay, I guess Devers
awesome.
really is just a fucking asshole. But again, I think they need to sell the team, Matt. You're correct. I think they do need a white front. To me, at least, I feel like Cora still wants to win, but I just feel like after every loss, seeing his post game conference, it's just he feels like he just looks more defeated every single time, and you could hear it in his voice. And he is a good manager, but it's they're so consistently inconsistent that that this is where they are, and I'm not surprised.
Big,
Yeah.
big,
Go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Josh.
No, Big E has a look now where I know he has something that he wants to get off his chest, and the reason being I now know is because last episode we had Brandon Merriweather on, former Patriot player, and Big E did what he just did while Sam was talking, and Brandon goes, "Big E, looks like you got some shit on your mind. What do you got to say?" So,
Big E, hit us with it, Big
Yeah,
E.
I just think it's a colossal like I can't even just find the right word for this. It's such an utter disappointment, and it really does start at the top. Okay, you make the trade. You can't even have John Henry or Tom Werner come out there and actually talk.
no
You
way.
got to put Sam Kennedy out there. You got to put Craig Breslow out there to hang them to dry, where those guys probably had no say in what was going on. Maybe Kennedy might have, who knows, whatever. But like it's just the fact that they don't care, right? They treat this like an investment that at this point, it's funny. I think if you had told me in 2000 as like a 12-year-old kid that hey, these owners are going to come in, revitalize Fenway, they're going to bring you 4 World Series championships, but after, 25 years, you want them gone, I would say that sounds asinine, right? Like it just sounds asinine. But the shit that they put us through, especially the last 6, 7 years, it's unimaginable. We were joking in the offseason about like the Fenway Five. We were going to kind of do the same thing that Barstool did, and we are going to go down on Jersey Street. We were going to go, kind of sit there and do a little sit in. And ultimately, they made these moves. I feel like a sucker. I feel like a sucker because I bought in. You want to know who's not buying in anymore? I'm not buying in. I'm not buying anything. I'm not spending any money at the park. I'm not going to any games. I'm not watching Nesson. I am doing nothing. I am protesting because I am done with them. Until they sell the team, I want nothing to do with them.
Here's the problem. It's not going to happen.
I know.
Like the whole like sell the team take. I get it. I understand it. You want to sell the team? Fine, have at it. They're not going to sell the team.
Making too much money.
Making way too much money. It's funding all of their other investments. So like I don't and don't get me wrong, like do I agree? Yes, in a perfect world sell the team. I'll buy the team. All right, in a perfect world. They're not going to do it. So what do you have to hope for? Really? Like that's why I say they need to clean house underneath John Henry because John Henry ain't going anywhere. And I don't think Sam Kennedy's going anywhere either. And I don't think Craig Breslow's going anywhere, at least for another year, because they weren't able to get a real general manager last time around because they keep firing general managers, after they do their jobs. Bloom certainly didn't, but Dombrowski did. Charrington got fired, 2 years, less than 2 years after winning a World Series. Dombrowski's going to the Hall of fucking Fame. He got fired less than a year after winning a World Series. So why would any qualified candidate come here and work? That's why you need everybody gone. Period. End of story. Because you can't bring in a general manager and be like, hey, and we're going to stick you with Alex Cora, who spent the last 5 years trying to knife both of his general managers in the back. So here, good luck with that. I don't want to give Cora the job because he's trying to manipulate everybody. Are you going to be reporting directly to John Henry? Are you going to be reporting to Sam Kennedy? Like, what GM would come here under those circumstances? So they need to clean house with everybody from the president on down, because that's how dysfunctional they are, because the owner is not selling. He's not doing it.
And Matt, I think you alluded to it. It's just like such a hopeless feeling, and I think Tony Maserati was saying that today as well. Hopeless. That's exactly how I feel. I think after that Devers trade, I just put the remote down and just like told myself I just cannot watch this team anymore. It's gotten to that point, and it's also like a team that's they went the opposite direction. They wanted to build their farm team, like you were talking about. Dombrowski got fired because he emptied out our farm team to win World Series. Now I'm concerned about our farm system because Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer, they're growing up in this dysfunction, and it's like, are we possibly going to ruin our top prospects that they've been talking about for so long now?
Yes, the answer is yes. The answer is always yes with that. So that's not specifically a Red Sox thing. I've been saying this for years, guys. Like, I love the prospects as much as anybody else. I started my career in the minor leagues. I was in Portland. Henry Owens broke my heart. He did. Garen Cicchini, I thought was going to be John Valentin, or not John Valentin, but you know what I mean. Like, I thought he was going to be an everyday big leaguer. Like, I saw so many guys come through, and that taught me a valuable lesson. Most of these guys fail. They do. That's just the numbers of it. You want to talk analytics? Let's talk prospect analytics. You got 3 big prospects. You'll be lucky if one hit. Really. One will hit, one will be average, and the other's going to flame out. So are they ruining these guys? I'm not quite sure you can ruin Marcelo Meyer. I don't know if Marcelo Meyer is a superstar. I've never believed he was a superstar. I think Marcelo Meyer probably is a good big leaguer. I think he can field wherever you put him, and I think he's got a sweet swing, and I think he's going to be a nice big league hitter. He might be Andrew Benintendi. I mean, was a nice big leaguer for a little while there. So, is he Brandon Crawford? Somebody suggested to me, Milliken said he's Brandon Crawford. I was like, okay, but Brandon Crawford was a good big leaguer. It's not Corey Seager, which is who you told me he was. Anthony, I think, is special. I'm not convinced they can even ruin him. I mean, he's not ready to field yet at the big league level, but he's not awful. Like, he's, and they just haven't coached the kid, obviously. And Breslow's the first to tell you they haven't coached the kid. Campbell's the one to watch. He is. Like,
Yeah.
That's the guy they are running the risk of ruining with the way they're approaching it. But you can never count on these guys to be what you truly think they're going to be. I thought Xander Bogaerts was going to be Miguel Cabrera, like that type of impact hitter. Xander Bogaerts was a really good big leaguer for a long time. He wasn't Miguel Cabrera. They think Christian Campbell's Mookie Betts. I'm sorry, very few people are Mookie Betts. So, and not to mention too, you're relying on them to win now. Like, okay, hey, you're the face of the franchise. Go out there and hit 300. Good luck. You've been in the big leagues 2 weeks. Like, right. That's not the way to approach it. You're asking too much of these kids. It's only human nature, but they don't consider that over there. They just don't.
I mean, it's kind of stupid that they think he could be Mookie Betts when they actually had Mookie Betts on the roster.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And he would have been the guy. He would have been the guy to give that 10-year, $400 million contract to at the time. And right now, he'd be in year 6 or year 7, and you'd be saying that is a fucking deal for that guy.
I'll never get over it. Never get over it.
It's the line of demarcation in the sand, to be quite honest, of this team. The same way it is with Brady and the Patriots. It's like when Mookie Betts was traded, it was when this team decided that they weren't serious about winning anymore. When Tom Brady was let go of, and that was more Belichick, obviously, but it was like, this team isn't serious. Other shit has gotten in the way of allowing for winning to be able to happen, whether it be egos, whether it be ownership decisions, whatever it is. And that's the problem. Hopefully the Patriots are in a place now to fix it. The Red Sox certainly are not. The sad thing about the Red Sox is they're wasting an incredible year from Garrett Crochet. I mean,
No
that guy
doubt.
comes out every fifth day and fucking punches. And tonight is already four strikeouts. And of course, tonight as we're recording, they're up 7-0 in the third fucking inning here. So classic Red Sox to
Blip on the radar. Don't
to do
expect
that.
too
No,
many of
no,
those.
no. We are not falling for the illusion of contention this year. We are not. We are not. Unless for some reason we're at September 15th and this team has a chance. Don't talk to me until then. But McCarthy, any final takes here on the Sox or things going on? Tell us about it. Obviously, you're on the airwaves this week. Any other things coming up with the holiday season that you know about before we let you go?
Oh yeah, and I'm on all week on Toucher and Hardy. Got Felger and Maz on Thursday. Baseball hour, and then on all next week. Could I tell you where I'm working? No, because I don't remember. But
Just
you know
listen.
what? I'm working all next week. I'll tell you that. I'm working next weekend with Jimmy Stewart, 9 to 1 on the 5th of July.
Oh,
That's a take right there.
Ooh.
That's a good time. I'm going to tell you there are very few things that could get me to work at 9 a.m. after the 4th of July. Jimmy Stewart is one of them. So very much looking forward to that. And no, I mean, listen, it's a good time, for at least the next week or so. Obviously, with all the NBA stuff going on, reading here that it sounds like Horford's probably going to Golden State. So that news is coming down. So it's a good time to be a sports fan for about the next week and a half, and then oh boy, it's the dark ages. And I'll be there. I'll be there all that week. You better believe everybody has their vacation time loaded up for MLB All-Star Week. So it's going to be McCarthy from sunrise to sundown, baby.
all
Is
right.
it a good time to be a Boston sports fan or a good time to just be a sports fan? Because that's where I think there's a difference there.
No, I think it's very important to draw that distinction, Big E. I'll tell you that it is. We are not in a great time right now. It feels very 90s ish, and as a child of the 90s, it's very uncomfortable. I don't like this.
I'm not having fun. I'm not having
No,
fun.
no, there's no fun to be had, and there really is no hope. So I'll leave you with that. No
Drake
fun,
May.
no
Drake
hope.
May is our only hope. He's our only hope.
I don't even think he's that good. So,
Oh no. Oh no.
All right. Well, that's going to have to be a
Oh.
discussion for when we have McCarthy back on in the fall to talk about the Patriots and see where this Red Sox team ends up. McCarthy, always appreciate your time. Be sure to tune in to 98.5 over the next couple of weeks. McCarthy's holding it down. Maybe we'll have to call in, boys, at some point, fill a few minutes for Matt.
I mean,
So,
July 5th sounds like a great day to call in.
that's
oh,
the day to call in. Oh,
you,
trust me,
you better have
you
a
will be there.
take ready to go.
Merriweather said he was going to give you guys a ring.
Oh,
Yeah.
Merriweather, he can call anytime.
All
That's what we
right.
told him. He would be welcomed with open arms.
No doubt about that.
So, all right, McCarthy, take care. Good luck with the early mornings. We'll be tuning in all week. Have a great 4th of July as well.
Yeah, much appreciated. Always fun to be on with you guys. Looking forward to doing it again.
All right.
Thanks,
Take
All
care.
right,
McCarthy.
Matt.
All right, see you
Thanks,
later.
Matt.
Good seeing you.
Yeah, bye bye.
All right, Matt McCarthy,
Nice.
98.5 The Sports Hub. Always appreciate his time, and he'll definitely be on again. Fellas, any final Red Sox takes here, and just in terms of the team, anything else we want to discuss, or we can dive into that beautiful big bad Bruins.
Ice cream
I'll
machine
just
is out of order.
Yeah, right. Forever. No, I'll just finish it up with, Matt knows, kind of what's going on. And I do 100% agree with his take with kind of clearing house. If John Henry is going to refuse to sell the team, then you got to get rid of everyone on the inside and start completely fresh. And that goes even into the farm system as well. So we'll see where we are. Maybe we'll probably have a Red Sox funeral, but who knows?
Time will tell. Time will tell. Gabe, Bruins. We have
Howdy.
the funeral for their end of the
Oh.
2024-2025 season. However, a page has been turned. We have a new head coach in Marco Sturm. The draft has occurred. Free agency is underway. What's going on in Bruins land?
Yeah, some may say the Bruins are cooking a little bit right now.
Oh,
Some may say maybe not. Hold your horn a little bit, but
hold the
we'll
horn.
see. We'll see. We'll start with the NHL draft. Obviously, an exciting pick, I believe, for the Boston Bruins and James Hagen's BC boy centerman that they desperately need, especially kind of like that elite prospect tier of a prospect in that position. So I'm quite thrilled about the James Hagen's pick. He dropped. Many thought he'd be drafted, within the top five, and he dropped in the Bruins' laps. And I wrote it here. It's a Don Sweeney could not fuck up this draft pick. Like it was it just a fuck up proof pick. You had to pick James Higgins at this position. I feel like it goes against moves that the Bruins have done in the past by drafting like the big centerman. Like last year, they drafted Dean Letourneau, and he's like a 6'7" centerman who can barely fucking move. And it's like they finally went with like I mean, comps to James Higgins are like Jack Hughes and Patrick Kane. Like they finally went with someone who can bring that talent to this offense that they desperately need. And not to mention James Higgins, James Higgins, excuse me, played on a line with Ryan Leonard, who's now, played in the playoffs for the Washington Capitals this past year. And Gabe Perreault is a promising prospect on the Rangers now. So he's got promise. I'm not, I'm still excited like 4 days after the draft, so that's saying something. I don't want to be a complete yellow teamer and say this is the most amazing draft pick ever, but I'm excited about it. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it too.
I don't know anything about this kid, to be honest, in terms of being able to evaluate his talent. I'm not sitting here watching Boston college hockey on the regular, so it's tough to tell. Everything in terms of the comps, fantastic. The thing that sucks about the NHL draft picks is that now he goes back to BC for a year. Who knows if he's going to go up to Providence? Now, I do think that like they could call him up at the end of the season, correct? After
Yeah.
the college season is done.
Just like Ryan Leonard this year, they could call
Right.
him up if they're in like a playoff position or anything like that and they need a
Do you think they're
boost.
going to be in a playoff position?
I don't know. I could go into, they've done
You have
some
a
good
crystal ball.
work in the re-sign period here. They did re-sign Morgan Geekie, who's 26 years old, to a 6-year, $33 million deal. That's, it's like it's a great money contract. I mean, the guy had a career year last year. He had 30 plus goals. He looked really comfortable playing next to Pasternak. You worry about him having like that Trent Frederick year next year where he just drops off exponentially.
That's right.
But I don't.
Trent got paid. Doesn't matter, right? You
He
you can have
got
a
paid.
bad year and you get paid. So
Exactly,
you know,
exactly. So I think, between that, another name that probably doesn't excite you guys as much, but for me, Henry Yokiharu, he was an acquisition last year at the trade deadline from the where did he come from? The Sabres, I want to say. He pairs up beautifully with Zadorov, so you have a probably good third, top six defenseman that you re-signed. They're doing the things you would hope the Bruins would do at this point. And now it just comes down to free agency and seeing what they can pull off there. I mean, they have now that they've re-signed everybody, they have about 12 million in cap space, which is not nothing to sneeze at in hockey. I mean, contracts aren't as fruitful as they are in the NBA or MLB.
Yeah,
I was
that's what
gonna
I was just gonna say. The Laura High deal. I saw that one. That was for what? 2 years,
2 years,
3.5 million.
Yeah, I think it was three. Maybe he got like 3 million a
Three.
year
Yeah,
or
three
Yeah, yeah,
point
something.
one. It
three.
was
Yeah, yeah,
two
yeah,
and
yeah,
six
yeah.
point two, I believe.
Which, he had a kind of rocky season last year. The whole team did, so I can't really blame one player. But, he's a young, promising prospect as well. So I think that's a fair deal for him. But I was going to pose a question like, does Marchand come back? But obviously, then he signs this crazy deal with Florida, where he's playing till he's like 59 years old and
he's going to
raking
go
in
in the
the.
hall. He's going to go into the hall as a Panther because they're going to continue to rip off. They are set up for. Yeah, I know we were just talking about an NBA how it's not set up for dynasties. I don't think the NHL is, but I think the Panthers are set up for a
Well,
dynasty.
I mean,
Who's going to get in their way?
if that's the case, we got Charo, we got Bergeron. We're not worried about it. If Marchand decides to
Oh
go
no,
into the hall as a
that
Panther.
still kills me. That kills me. That dude embraced the Bruins, and like I think there was word on the street that maybe there was a possibility of a return, but I really cannot fault the guy for re-signing with Florida because they are the best positioned team I've seen in a long, long time to not
Not
just
when he got a
go
bag.
and get another Stanley Cup next year, but to be in the conversation for at least the next three or four. I do agree at the end of that contract is not going to look great. And the end of that Panthers run, there are going to be a lot of old guys there. There's going to be a lot of dead money.
It's going to be
But
like
who
a senior
cares?
league.
I think they are doing exactly what we would all want any of our franchise to do. Go all out, continue to invest until the bottom comes out. And you want what? Good for them. I like I might my hat is tipped to the Panthers organization.
Too bad
Yeah,
the
I
Red
mean
Sox
they've
don't do that.
I know, seriously. I mean, they have the Michael Jordan secret stuff. Like they just have the formula to be a perennial like leading team for the next year for a few years to come. And I mean, they may lose Sam Bennett to
Nope, they
another
re-signed
team.
him. They
Did they
re-signed him.
re-sign him?
They re-signed him. They
Oh
re-signed
man,
everyone.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, they
Because
could
I thought
definitely
I thought Sam
three-peat.
Benton was gonna, potentially get a bag, come up to the to Boston or somewhere else. Nope, nope. They re-signed everyone. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think this is also a good question too to pose to you and to the rest of the group. So the fact that the Bruins have $12 million, which is nothing to sneeze at, like you said, why are we in this position where we have this money in the first place, whereas other franchises like Florida don't have it? It's because they've drafted and developed the talent. Where that's where the Bruins haven't been able to do that. So I'm excited about James Higgins. I just as excited as you are. But it's the fact and the inability of the Bruins to have done that consistently over the last decade that has put us in the position where we are now, where we do have this money to spend because this is money that should have been going to players that we've drafted and developed, but they've sucked ass at that for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, you know, hopefully now with some more prospects in their pool bit on trades from last year and then the draft this year, hopefully that will become a bit more fruitful for them, but there's really, time will tell with the prospects. I did see Mitch Marner got traded to the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yep.
That's intriguing to me. The West is probably going to have an arms race and start loading up. So we'll see. I think the Bruins will make some lower key free agent signings to kind of build the team out a little bit, more depth pieces and just like kind of fill the roster, which they need to do. But it would be also be really cool if they made a splash and signed like a top, six forward that can actually give you goals and win you games. So we'll see.
I think the question too is, do they potentially look at moving the goaltender? Because he's got a big ass contract that he was, you know, making a big deal in the offseason last year, not showing up at training camp. And this team is not positioned to go and win anytime in the next 2 to 3 years. And I'm sorry. If any of you guys are optimistic and feel like they're going to go win a cup in the next 2 or 3 years, I'm sorry to burst your bubble. I don't feel the same way. So what are we doing paying a goaltender that much money where we could be, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't pay a goaltender that much money. He's a great goaltender when he's on. Trade him, get the money back, get assets for other plays, other holes in the roster, and figure out the goaltender situation later down the road when you are, primed to become a contender. To me, that's the easiest move to make in the offseason.
I mean, the Bruins go, I think, with the way that the goalie goes in Swayman. I mean, he's the key to this team. And if he's locked in next year, gets a full training camp under his belt, maybe has some better relationships with teammates. There's a lot of new faces on this team, and is able to repair the ones with guys that are still around. I truly do think that if he's on next year, that this team can be a playoff team. We know how a goalie sort of works in terms of that. Two questions for the hockey heads here. Is Corpusalo back for another year here as our backup? And then oh God, what's my second one? In terms of other free agency sort of people and players that are out there, I think the goal scoring for the Bruins is a need as they go into the offseason. Defensively, I think they're locked in. They have five guys, ready
Yeah.
to rock and roll. So uh I don't know. Gabe, any thoughts on any of my mishmash
So
bullshit there?
Corpusalo, I believe, will be back. He's on a pretty low, a pretty team-friendly contract. He definitely outshined what we thought he would be last year. I think he makes about $3 million average. But they also signed Michael DiPietro, who was their AHL
Yes.
starting goalie, to a 2-year, $1.625 million contract. So that's intriguing to me that they might, they've upped Corpusalo's value. Now, do they move on from Corpusalo and let another kind of young stud in net kind of play behind Swayman there and see what he can give? I think that would be a wise move in my opinion. I think there's a guy, Matthew Nyes. He's on Toronto, a young guy. He's a restricted free agent, so the Bruins would have to put an offer sheet out to him, and if yeah, obviously that gives Toronto a chance to match the offer sheet, but he's a perennial offensive player that could fit really well in with the Bruins. I don't know if they have the cojones to offer something that Toronto wouldn't be willing to offer. And again, I think they're more likely to spread out the money to fill the roster than on one player. But yeah, there's some people to look out for. But the roster is ever changing as we speak. So we'll know a lot more after free agency.
I kind of feel like that's the right approach for this team. I don't think one player is going to make the difference, and I think you spread out the money and you see what you can eventually get from some of these younger players that you have. See if some of these guys you sign on some decent deals overplay their contract, and then you start
Yeah.
really formulating where you go from there. Because I think you bring in one dude, it's not. And as much as I love Sam Bennett, and I thought he was going to become a Bruin, I don't think he is the difference between this team being where they are now to where we all want them to be going forwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Just one. Um, what was I gonna say? I kind of forget now.
That's
But
Sorry,
that,
I threw you off.
that's all
no,
right.
it's okay. It's okay. We can keep going. I'll think of it maybe.
If it comes to you, it'll be a oh yeah or yeah oh.
That's right.
When we
Depending
get
upon
there,
what it is.
depending upon if
Oh
you
yeah, he
remember.
remembered, and then we'll see the rest.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, and
All
then
right.
oh
Yo,
yeah
he
again. Then,
forgot.
oh yeah, oh I forgot again. Oops.
It was a little premature on that front. We're gonna do just some real quick notes and updates here is through the rest of the episode. These
Oh
things
yeah,
take
I do
minutes,
remember.
but okay, go.
Yeah.
All right,
Ooh.
all right. So just a quick question. The Bruins have yet to name a captain.
Ah, yes.
They did have a new jersey release where they had Charlie McAvoy and Pasternak sporting the new jersey, but they both had the A on their chest. Do you think who would you like as captain leading into this season? And do you think there's a possibility that they could both be co-captains?
Oh. I don't know. I think Marco Sturm's going to make these guys earn it. I think that's something he said when he joined Felger and Mass in that or sorry, in the sort of press run that he did the day after he was hired. And so I think that it could be either of them. They might go captainless this year and sort of see how this year transpires and who takes the reins from that standpoint. I'm comfortable with either of them. I don't know if you need to name somebody right away here with all the changes that have happened in the offseason, but obviously those two players, and to be quite honest, with along with Swayman, if you sort of think about it from a goalie defense, J Matt always says that offense, those are your three guys that you start the team with there. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm okay. They don't need a captain at this point in time.
I think they're going to go captainless again. Not again, but captainless this year. But I do think ultimately it's going to be Pasta that becomes the captain. I actually had been on record saying it was going to be McAvoy for a long time, but I actually feel like Pasta is probably the more natural choice than McAvoy. But I think this year, just with it being such a big year of transition, and obviously trading your captain last year during the trade deadline, I don't necessarily feel like this team has to have a captain going into this next season. So I prefer a captain this year. But if they had to name someone, I would prefer Pasternak.
Yeah. All right, we'll see how it all transpires here. A few things on the NFL docket that have transpired. Terry McLaurin not thrilled with his situation in Washington. Potentially could be on the move. Somebody the Patriots should kick the tires on for
Nope,
sure.
nope. Have you seen him? Terry McLaurin ate Terry McLaurin in the
Oh
offseason.
boy, he went Debo Samuel's route, so now they got two fast
Oh, no, no, no.
receivers.
I apologize. I was thinking about Deebo
Ayuk.
Samuels, not
Oh,
Terry McLaurin.
okay,
Oh
well,
my
yeah,
God.
Debo got fat a year ago, so he's but McLaurin,
Deebo ate Terry McLaurin.
there you
I
go.
know Sammy likes McLaurin.
That's more like it.
Mr. Consistent Man. He's been on my fantasy team the last couple of years, and he's always given me
He's a 100 catch,
14
a 1,000
points.
yard guy. I mean,
Yeah, and he's had
Always.
no
Mr.
quarterback
Consistent.
besides the quarterback he had last year. Who was throwing? Sam Howell?
yeah, no, he's been a good receiver there. So, uh, hey, kick the tires, why not? And then the Dolphins making some trades today. Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith going to Pittsburgh in a trade.
With
Uh,
Aaron Rodgers.
and now, yeah, Pittsburgh like loading up with the AARP crowd here. I mean, what the fuck is going
They're gonna
on? You
get
just
burned too.
Yeah, they're
Hey,
gonna.
Yeah.
I think this is the Jets 2.0 of last year. They got some names on the roster, but it's all gonna flame out, and that ankle could snap in half at any time.
They're a four or
they're
five
an
win
interesting
team.
team though, because I don't disagree with you. I think like this could flame out and go really bad. It could also go the other way and actually be much better. And if there's one team that gets lucky like this, it's Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is always that team that like ends up finding a way. And I don't think that they're going to be a crazy good team, but I think they're someone that the Patriots need to be aware of because we're going to be two teams that are going for the wild card spot together. So that's an interesting team to look at from that perspective.
They also
You're
have a
not.
great coach in Tomlin too. I mean, he
Yeah.
definitely could navigate those waters more than whoever the Jets coach was at the time when Rodgers was there. Like, was it Saleh? Yeah, Robert Saleh, I
Yeah,
think.
but they got DK Metcalf who they acquired in the offseason. They have two really good tight ends now, and Pat Fryermouth, who people tend to forget that dude catches a lot of balls. And then
Yeah.
you have Jonnu Smith, who's coming off the best season of his career. So I mean, they do have some possibilities where they can make it move a little bit, the ball, not anything else.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, yeah, about that. Pittsburgh gonna be good, gonna be great, gonna be
I don't
awesome
know. I don't think they're going to be as bad as maybe I think we're alluding to. I don't think they're going to be great. I mean, they still play in a division with the Browns, though. Remember that.
in the
Luke
Browns.
Garza.
All right,
Yep, I was
we
just
got
putting
it.
it in. Luke Garza, 2 years,
Luca
5.5
Garza.
to the Celtics.
Who
We
the
have
hell is
some
that?
other free
He
agency
played
updates
for
too.
Iowa in college. That's all
Yeah.
I kind of remember about him. He's a
This
big
is
guy.
this is Luke Cornett's replacement. Essentially, look at it like that. He is a big man. He does fulfill the need that Kras was sort of speaking to. He's a low post player down on the block, doesn't do anything fancy, but can rebound and sort of be a dunker.
He's tough as
Uh,
nails.
yeah, and a big boy, a big true 7 footer, which they haven't really had with some meat on
Big
his
seven
bones.
footer.
And Brad, we trust. I can't say I love the move.
He
Can't
could
say I hate the move. I'm just going to
This
trust
is
Brad
this is a
unconditionally.
backup. This is a true backup center move to replace Cornette. And will he give you the same
3 years,
production as
5.5
Cornette?
million.
Yeah. So
What? 2.5 million a year? That's a fine deal.
it's fine. It's
There's nothing wrong
fine.
with that.
All good.
It's not
Listen,
the deal that I'm worried about. It's the actual talent at the position.
they're gonna have to.
Who
Lackey.
else is out there?
There's plenty of
I,
people
I've
out there, but it depends how they're going to go into next season because as of right now, it pretty much feels like they're just going to go in almost the white flag halfway up the mast, like and if they're not going to rush Tatum back, which it clearly doesn't look like that's going to be the case, he'll take the full year off next year, then don't I'm completely fine with them doing this so long as they go into 2026, 2027 building around the Jays and saying, okay, we have a 3 or 4 year window where these guys are still in their prime and we can still take advantage of this and do what they just did with the Drew Holiday Porzingis situation once again. Okay, Brian Windhorst has arrived.
all right, Brian Windhorst this year. All right, here's what the Celtics do to make sure that they get back to contention. Jaylen Brown had that the meniscus surgery, and I think they're not going to rush him back either. I think he should not be ready to come back until around like late December, around Christmas time. Give Derek White and the kids an opportunity to develop and play. Give them an opportunity to really see what they can do. Jalen comes in. Jalen does what Jalen does. Maybe there's some injuries that occur to, Derek White and Jaylen Brown at some point throughout the season, and those guys have to take some extended periods off.
I
Maybe
don't
this
think
team
so.
does end up getting a top 10 pick going into next
I
year.
don't think so.
Why? Why?
Because they're professional athletes that want to play and that have like
I agree with Sam. I don't think Missoula has that in
no,
his nature to
no,
be able to
no,
let
that's
that
not
happen.
happening.
I think they're playing with
they're
house
gonna
money
play their
this year.
ass
I think
off.
they're playing with house money because I think everyone knows that the expectations are going to be lowered. It's not about next year, it's about the year after. And candidly, as a fan, I want to see what these young kids can do to develop. And if that means that, like, you save Jaylen Brown some wear and tear on the body, and same thing with Derek White, so they can actually, play longer in their career when Tatum does come back, I'm all for it. There's a way that they can finesse it for those
Yeah,
guys
but
to play a
fake
little bit next
injuries
year.
for a season for like, however many months. Yeah, I
Listen,
mean,
I would
you
rather
could
do
do a
that than
minute
trade.
load,
I would rather do that than trade those guys because I think
then
that's stupid.
then do internal conversations about minute
No,
loads.
I think that you can do what you're saying, Biggie, without having to tank. Because if this team has players, we've
They're
all
a good
talked about
team,
we've all talked
well
about
coached.
Shireman and Jordan Walsh and JD Davidson and Kada and all these guys that have been on the main Celtics or the end of the bench. It's like, okay, now you do have your year to go prove yourselves. Can you play in this league or not? And if they can play in this league and get this team into a playoff series, that experience is way more invaluable as you go back and try and load up for a championship with who are the players in that scenario that can actually perform and who are the ones that didn't nut up
And then
when the time
Well,
that
came
team
for it.
is a scary team when the bench is well versed in the playoffs, and you bring Tatum back to that mix and add another
It's
superstar.
almost a la Brown and Tatum when we had Kyrie and Hayward and all that bullshit going on.
Yep.
I
oh,
mean,
I think you're giving some of these
No,
young guys way more
but
credit than
yeah,
you
they
no,
don't
but we
deserve.
think that
didn't
the
we
rookie
didn't
year that Tatum dunked on LeBron's head and then obviously
Yeah, but
went
he was a
south from
number
2019.
three. He was arguably should
Well,
have been
that's
the
what
number
I,
one
well,
draft
well,
pick.
that's the difference.
The talent
You
gap
have
is
two
huge.
you have two number three picks that are your franchise superstars.
Well, you got
We're
to see it.
we're operating with second round picks that we're playing with here. And
You,
like, hey, listen, Jokic was a second round pick, and look, he came out and
so
he
you got to
played
hope
great.
that one or two
But
of them
He got
hit.
drafted during an Arby's commercial.
hey, listen, if anyone's
Taco
going to
Bell.
be, if anyone, no, it was
Oh,
Taco Bell actually.
Taco
If
Bell.
anyone's going to come in
Thank
and
you.
actually, I think the dude who I'm actually most curious about and that they drafted, just go into a little draft talk here, is it's Amari Williams. It's the kid that they
Yeah,
got who is the
from
center
Kentucky.
from Kentucky. I saw some eye popping numbers and I wish I could recall them, but he's one of the only centers.
10.9 points per game,
10.9.
He just started
56% from
throwing
the
out
field,
numbers.
and 8.5 rebounds per game. No, that was just off the top of my head because I wrote
I
it
just
down.
I just know he was one of the only like centers in college
He's a
basketball
walking
that
double
had
double.
like to not just double double, but
Almost
it was about the assists that he has and the steals that he has as well. So I think it was
3.5.
he's just a very active player, and yeah, he's a project. He's gonna take some time, but I would rather someone like him get run next year than maybe some like and I know he's a restricted free agent, so I don't think he's going to come back. But Drew Peterson, I'm sorry, you're not probably
Oh,
going to have a long.
see ya.
You're not going to have a future here. And listen, I hope some of these guys work out. G League MVP JD Davidson would love to see him flourish and do really well in the league. Same thing with Jordan Walsh, but chances are not all these guys are going to make it. So we got to find out what we actually have so we can move forwards.
I do think Shireman has an opportunity. He had a couple games last year where he kind of came in and from a rookie perspective sort of asserted himself. So he's a hot shooter. If you see Sam Hauser go, definitely see Shireman out there a
Awesome.
little bit more. So extended Celtics talk there in terms of Luke Garza coming to the
I
team on a
I
2-year
also
deal.
think just a little tidbit too that Amari Williams pick kind of like in my mind almost signals like is the Celtics team's going to change the philosophy of how they play now
God willing.
because he's kind of like that big man that can pass. I guess it's becoming more of like a cutting league like you see with OKC and the Pacers in this NBA Finals. And if you have a big man that can kind of stand at the top of the key and just eye out the cutters and get them the ball, then that might be a different direction the Celtics are thinking about going in besides just hucking up threes.
Well, they're certainly not going to space with the big men because the big men that they have right now are not 3-point shooters.
No.
And you want to it's going to have a different effect on the team if this is the bigs that they have going into the year. So I hope that they don't, but this is kind of the hand that we're dealt.
We're going to see if Missoula is really going to be able to coach and come up with a different way other than going bombs away here. So, they've had the roster be able to do that. Now they're going to have to find a different way to win and kind of get into the X's and O's here. But
Very true.
we'll see what happens. Free agency underway. Quickly running through updates here. K'Vion Looney to New Orleans, 2 years, $16 million. Matt McCarthy, take notes here. I'm doing your job for you right now. You could just take my voice, play it over the airwaves tomorrow. Brooke Lopez to the Clippers, 2 years, $18 million. Karis LeVert.
Giannis is gone. Giannis is gone. They're losing all kinds of talent there.
Yes,
Oh,
perhaps.
you can't say that in free agency. It's
Yeah, now
I got Shams on a refresh.
Karis LeVert to Detroit for 2 years, $29 million. Look out for Detroit, sneaky good team.
Yeah.
And then Clint Capella back to Houston, correct?
They're the team I'd be worried about
$22 million deal.
out west right now. Like
Yeah,
they seem like they are ready to take the next step. They were good last year, and they basically
Oh,
traded a bag of balls to get Durant, and then they just got another good big man to come back and partner with Sagoon.
they're
Yeah,
nasty.
so they,
Yeah.
they should be a good team this year with Udoka there as well, who we know can
Great coach. We don't
So-
know anything about guys like him.
No. It's time for a great segment, one that we've been waiting for now for 2 weeks, and one that Big E takes it away for.
Yeah, I wish I was more excited, but there are the things that we hate, the things like the Boston sports landscape right now that just make me want to go, ugh, like gross, disgusting. Yeah, get out of here. And then there are the things that are stupendous, the things that I can't even. There's not a lot of stupendous that's going on right now, guys, unfortunately. But they're the things that make me want to get up out of my chair and go, Oh yeah.
That
Who's
was a
got a
good
yeah
one.
or an oh yeah?
Beautiful.
Because I really don't got much going on. I'm just like we're in the doldrums of summer. The all the teams suck right now. I hate our sports landscape at this moment.
Well, let's get to it, boys. We got a few things here on the board. Yeah, with Malik Beasley. Malik Beasley gambling, not good. And there was a clip of the end of a game where the spread was 8.5 in the bubble, I believe, and they were down by 9. And somebody in the crowd said something to Beasley with 5 seconds left, and he took the rebound or the inbound after the free throw and went coast to coast to dunk it to get it to get it under the 8.5 spread. And now you look at that completely differently because in no other way, shape, or form should somebody have been trying to dunk the ball in that scenario down 9 points with 5 seconds to go.
Unbelievable.
I got a great oh yeah to juxtapose that though. Oh yeah to our boy Terry Rozier for getting cleared of his charges. Yeah, let's go Terry.
Scary
For now.
Terry. Just don't be a fucking idiot. Let somebody else do
It's
it for you.
it's
I
crazy too
saw
Yeah,
because
like your
Malik Beasley
interpreter.
was second runner-up in the Sixth Man of the Year award this past year, losing to Peyton Pritchard. But
Not
like
anymore.
that's crazy. Like he's gonna be like banned now from like the
Yeah.
league. Like it's
Yep.
At
crazy.
least,
And
at least,
100%.
at least for a
for
few months at
Few,
least.
yeah,
few years at
not a
least.
good
I
trend
will
in
say
the
what his
NBA.
lawyer said: presumed innocent until proven guilty. So
We shall see. We shall see.
Allegations.
unlike Terry Rozier, who has been proven innocent.
Excellent. All
All
right.
right.
We got a big oh yeah and yeah oh to go through. Myself, Gabe, and Kraz had the great pleasure, along with our good buddy Erky Erlander, to go see the Capitol Groove down in Hartford, Connecticut. There's oh yeahs and yeah ohs from our entire experience. We want to run through them. Boys, feel free to just your overall takeaways from the event, and then we can dive into each of these little nuggets a little further because it's funny stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, the overall event for me, I mean, it was just it was very reminiscent of a much smaller scale Wormtown or Strange Creek. If any of you Massachusetts listeners are familiar with those festivals out in Greenfield, um, it was just a real concert to just be able to literally like lie down with my friends, watching like one of my favorite bands, and it was just the whole experience was just surreal. And unfortunately, thankfully, I should say thankfully, Robbie and your cousin are okay, but unfortunately, Ripe wasn't there to play. But still, again, our his health is paramount to him playing. So it was a great night, and I'm glad you guys now enjoy Krungbin. That makes my heart happy.
Yeah, and I think Pilates looked over to me at one point during Steel Pulse and was just like, ripe to this would have been the most like unreal experience just of all the energy that those two bands kind of encapsulate in their fans. But glad obviously, like Sam said, glad that everybody in Ripe is doing well. It was a great experience. I mean, Krungbin was definitely worth the price of admission. They put on an unbelievable show. It was the graphics were trippy and like they just never miss a beat. It's like
Yeah.
it's insane. I mean, I looked over. I mean, it was a very chill environment. We were kind of up on this hill, like in the lawn, basically. And there weren't really like most people were sitting. Like there wasn't really like much dancing going on in the back. I mean, they did have the pit up front where everybody was like up and dancing. But I look over at Pilates at one point, and he just gets up from his chair and just starts wiggling away to one of the Krungbin
Maria
songs, and it
Tambien.
Maria Tambien, he just starts grooving away, and it was like it was one of like that was definitely a core memory of mine from the weekend was just seeing Plotty dancing amongst like all these people just sitting around. It was
I
the
I
best.
I mean, I was inspired, and for whatever reason, the woman in
Oh yeah, to that lady in the chairs
the
too. Oh yeah,
the chair lady, great. The woman in Krungbin who slaps the bass is just incredible.
Laura
And
Lee's.
I don't know why, but like the way she like her stage presence and the way that she just moves around is like the definition of that band. And I don't know how to describe it, but she
Well,
she
wouldn't you
is
think like listening to them like they would be a boring like performance to watch because it's very like mellow, chill music, but the way they utilize the stage and they're always walking around and
yeah,
playing and they're not missing a beat as they're walking and
no.
dancing and it's just like it's something you don't understand until you see them live. And then
It,
you're just like, holy crap, they are amazing.
it's funny you mentioned that because I had a similar experience at Coachella years and years and years ago. I went in 2013 and I saw Bon Iver play. And you would think Bon Iver, like, kind of just like, again, very mellow. You wouldn't expect like the biggest stage presence. One of the best live acts I've ever seen. Had a full band. Band was amazing. Like sometimes the acts don't sound like they're going to be the best live bands are the best live bands. So I can totally back that up and say I've had a similar experience too in the past.
Best part about festivals is that you're bound to find a new artist or two, or at least a song or two that you latch onto and really
Mhm.
enjoy. So that was great. Running through a couple of just like insider trading here. Urban Lodge Brewing, go for the
Oh,
drinks, don't go for the food. That's all we'll say on that.
that chicken wrap, that chicken
All
Caesar
right, we're
wrap
not going to
is.
trash the restaurant, but yeah,
I,
don't
I,
get
I'm
the
not. I'm
chicken
not.
Caesar
I'm just
wrap.
trying to give constructive criticism. It's just a little
Spreading
bit more
awareness.
dressing. A little bit more dressing. That's all you need.
Caesar dressing at that would
Yeah.
be nice. So
Not just
second
a piece of garlic.
second was Scooter Kid,
I,
who
I'm gonna take this
real
story
quick, real quick.
because so we're sitting there and all of a sudden we hear our mom say, I don't know what the
Jimmy,
I'll
Jimmy,
call him
Jimmy.
Bradley. I'll call him Bradley. Bradley, no, Bradley, no. And the no's were just getting louder and louder. And we look to our left and we see this kid and when he's on a scooter and he's going down this hill and it's like a kind of a curved hill. And when I mean every single time the mom would say no, he would just hit the floor a little bit harder to pump himself to get a little bit more speed. And then the last no, he just gets down like a speed skater and he's going. And I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, here we go. This is not going to end up well. And little man learned a life lesson. I'll tell you what. He got a little bit of road rash on those knees, on his face. Thankfully, he's wearing a helmet and an elbow and knee pads, so he was good there. But he scared the shit out of himself in front of hundreds of people, and will never do that ever again.
The audible gasp when Bradley hit the deck was something that I will never forget. The
Yeah.
same way that Gabe says my wiggling was that for him, Bradley hitting the deck will be that for me.
It was epic.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, just and mind you, you're at a music festival, so think of the things that we've been participating in all day to make sure our mindset was prepared. The last oh yeah of this entire situation is Hartford, Connecticut put on a show. And what I mean by that is the city really showed out for an event like that. Bushnell Park was an amazing venue.
Mhm.
Some good areas to go out. Albeit that the place that we went to was good for drinks. Just our food wasn't what we
The
were
apps
hoping
were
it
good
would be.
too.
Yeah, it was a good spot overall. But Hartford really was a walkable, good city to be in, and they did a great job. Like legitimate acts, an affordable festival to go to, great food and beverage options. Like was really surprised at that. And so shout out to Hartford, Connecticut. Last, oh yeah, we have here is 4th of July, fellas. So hope everyone has a happy and safe 4th of July. Don't fuck around with fireworks and end up like Jason Pierre Paul.
Yeah.
Safety first. Let the people that are pros at that do the fireworks.
I've been doing this for like I might be going to my buddy's house. We've been doing this for 18 years now. I know what I'm doing.
Enjoy.
We might spend 3-4 grand on fireworks, and one actual firework itself display might be $400, but we know how to light them.
Okay, you have fun with that. I will be staying safe, and it's good to be with everybody as always. The Pike here, Sox with some games. We'll keep up with free agency, and that's all she wrote here on a Monday night in the Boston Sports Brothers getting together. So we're off next week. Back on the 14th, we'll recap everything that went on between now and then. Big thanks to McCarthy for being with us, gentlemen. Any final parting words? Otherwise, near, far, wherever you are. We'll do it all again next time. Hopefully,
Erev
five of
Tov.
us.
Happy
Adios,
Fourth, everyone.
boys.
Erev
Enjoy.
Tov.
Peace.